You think we'd have this technical stuff figured out by day 20? Welcome everybody. Welcome. We're excited to have you. Got some new faces. Welcome, Johanna. Hello. Craig. Welcome everyone. I can only see a certain amount, so I'm not ignoring you if I don't call your name. Welcome everybody. I know today's what, Saturday or Sunday? Saturday. Thank you for spending your Saturday rising with us. You could be doing anything. We could be doing anything. We could be at karaoke. We could be doing whatever. So yeah, just really happy to have you all here. Day 20 of our live daily calls for I Am Divinity. It's only been 10 days since we've rebranded I Am Divinity, and it really kind of reminds me of the song you just heard by Mr. Tim. He says, I see you everywhere. You are my everything. But he's saying, like, I have to let you go. What is he talking about? He's talking about the ego, right? And that was 10 days ago when we decided to divorce the ego and marry the divinity. And it's been the best decision ever. It's interesting because all the people that were not really in alignment with it, they came out the woodworks looking for their money in the piggy bank. When we didn't say anything about the divinity, they were quiet. But as soon as we started saying, like, hey, we want to put divinity first, all hell broke loose. So I just want to recognize everybody that's still here for all the right reasons, all the people that are here for the divinity, because you realize that is, I talked about this yesterday, that's actually leaving a true legacy, right? Because we helped you make another $1,000, $5,000 a month, but you were still in your toxic programs. What would that do? Not much, right? Like I remember it was only a couple months ago, I thought to save my marriage, it was to make more money, and I made more money. But it was actually just made it worse because I had more time to do all the toxic shit I was already doing. So, yeah, I didn't make more time for my marriage to truly connect with my partner. And so here at I Am Divinity, what we want to help you create is the inner freedom, the freedom within to truly be who you are, which is divinity. And that's the best gift that I've personally ever received. And when we share from where we are, it's really because we know that there's someone out there that's going to get something out of this. I was just talking to my buddy Gilbert. If you're on the call, Gilbert, shout out to you, bro. And he's talking about, now he has 10 people that are showing up at 10 a.m. And it's interesting because you don't have to force anyone to do anything. All the right people, if they're aligned with the mission, they naturally come. And when we are sharing, it's because we know that there are people out there that have been searching, that have been looking for something like this. I shared a little bit about how I was basically an addict for basically my whole life. I was addicted to different things, whether it's marijuana, whether it's sex, whether it's building businesses, money, whatever it was. And because I shared that, Gilbert felt as if he had the permission to share with all of you guys. I was watching his testimony the other day and I literally bust out crying because I'm like, dude, like, you don't see this. You don't see men being vulnerable and just sharing from a place of authenticity nowadays. It's all we've been programmed to believe that we need to be tough and macho. I got to keep all my everything within. But the thing is there are people that are struggling, that are going through things. And this is what that community is, to help you finally become free from the prison that you've put yourself in.
right? We've been programmed, but we still have the choice. And so I'm super excited to have you all here. I still do want to figure out where everyone is calling in from. That's usually how I start off, but we just go with the flow. Where are you guys calling in from? If you can, just drop it in the chat, whether you're on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, here in Zoom. I would love to know where you guys are calling in from. Just drop it below, drop it in the chat. Okay, awesome. We got Colorado Springs in the house. Michael, shout out to you, bro. You've been on every single call. Zoom, Planet Zoom, Montreal, Texas, Kelowna, Canada. Isn't that where your brother's from?
Yeah, just an hour away.
Oh, wow. Oh, cool. Switzerland. Awesome, Amy. Good to have you. You've also been on these calls as well. Oh, I'm sorry, Brad, I missed you. Boise, Idaho. And Facebook, I'd love to hear where you guys are at. We do check them. Johanna, Sweden, AI Zoom. Where is that Planet Zoom? Or is that Zoom? Awesome. Cool. So yeah, Oregon, Josh. Cool. Texas, Arcadia. Awesome. So yeah, I'm not gonna go too much longer. I want to introduce Jamie. He's always bringing the fire. But I want to share with you something that happened today. So, we talk, if this is your first time, you'll get caught up. But we talk about the divinity process and basically having an instant and permanent transformation. And to actually be able to hold that and to operate from your highest light, there's a process, or like I guess a holding process called the divine focus. Well, I did that earlier today, and I'm only running on 2 hours of sleep actually, which is interesting. Because back in the day, I would drink probably like 4 cups of coffee, and I had, I'd sleep 8 hours, and I still needed 4 cups of coffee. And now, like, I haven't had any alcohol, weed, coffee, sex, any of that. None of the things that I was addicted to. And it's interesting because I missed my mid-afternoon divine focus, and I just felt my energy completely plummet. And so I came here to Jamie's house, and they found me, and I was like sleeping on the couch. Like, oh, here's marketing. And but then I realized, like, hey, I didn't go long enough in my divine focus. And so I ended up getting into my divine focus 20-30 minutes. My energy just came right back. And we got so much more work done. It just flowed naturally. And so I just want to remind you all that have already done the process, it's extremely crucial that you are making it mandatory. And it doesn't necessarily mean only the 10 minutes that Don, is kind of requiring you to. Do it for as long as you can. I don't even set a timer anymore. It used to be 30 minutes and an hour. Now I just go until whatever, until I don't even feel my body anymore. So I just want to remind you guys of that. And so with that being said, I want to bring on our CEO, Mr. Jamie Divine. He doesn't like titles. He doesn't like the CEO thing. He doesn't like his name. So I just call him Supreme Godhead at this point. But yeah, not gonna edify him. Just gonna bring him up, let you experience him. So Jamie, will you come up here, bro? That's you. Yes.
Oh, this looks familiar.
You look familiar.
Well, hello, everyone. Good morning to most of you. Great to see some familiar names. Marty, shout out to you. Tiffany. Awesome. So, exciting news. Yes, I do have exciting news about my younger brother. So I have two brothers. One is 3 years younger than me. That's Chase. And 5 years younger than me is Jesse. And Jesse and Chase had the same father, and I had a different father. My father passed away when I was 2. Mom met met Dad in a nightclub. I was telling Nua today. He said, "So tell me your upbringing story." And I didn't get to finish it because we walked into a 2-hour massage. So I'm gonna finish it now, and all of you guys get to hear it. So Mom met Dad in a nightclub, and if you haven't been to Canada before, we were just outside of Vancouver, a place called Surrey. So you know LA, you know Compton. Okay, well Vancouver, Surrey. So Surrey is the Compton of Canada. Not the nicest place to be. Anyway, Mom met Dad at the nightclub there, and as you can imagine, Dad liked to drink, Dad liked to party, Dad liked to have fun. The ghetto Josh knows, yeah, exactly. I lived in Vernon for a year as well, Josh, and that is no better. Josh is from Vernon originally. So they met in a nightclub, and within 2 years, the saying "so sorry you live in Surrey." Yeah, exactly. Oh yeah, Gordon knows, he's in Kelowna. So my brother Jesse is in Kelowna. And anyway, Dad had a party addiction. I maybe got that one in the genes, you know, but I think it was right in the DNA. Um, but he's a big bodybuilder, steroids, and alcohol and cocaine are the only two addictions I'm aware of. There may have been more, most likely. So when I turned 2, Dad was a few hours away in Squamish for a business trip. And next thing you know, Mom gets the call. Hey, are you Barbara? Yes. Oh, well, we regret to inform you that your husband has passed away in a hotel room from cocaine. And Mom was young, and they had started a roofing company. Dad was a roofer. So when they got together, they started a company, and that became financially successful. And as you could imagine, the financial success, well, let me ask you, do you think the financial success added to Dad's party addiction or helped his party addiction? Just throw it in the chat. Added or helped? Exactly. Josh says more cocaine. Exactly. Exactly. And sad to say, I mean, it absolutely destroyed and ruined him. And I was so then Mom met stepdad. He was living right across the street from us. So Mom was in this little basement suite with just me, single mom, 2-year-old child. And next thing you know, this guy across the street that just bought the new little bachelor house, he had the long hair and started playing with little Jamie, the bike and the motorcycles. And so wasn't too much longer that I had 3 siblings born across the street with stepdad. And as you could imagine, stepdad, different name, different face, very similar hairstyle, and exact same toxic patterns. So stepdad was out partying, alcohol, cocaine. It got to the point where it was everything you could think of, the meths and everything to chase that high. And so he would go out and spend all the money partying and come home, and Mom's like, "What the fuck? I got 4 children here, and we don't even have money for diapers because you're out spending it on your addictions." And so Mom packed us up, all 4 kids, in a minivan and drove all the way down the Baja, Vancouver, all the way down to Mexico, to the very end of the land, in a little place called Cabo. So I was there for a couple years, and then ended up going back up living with Uncle after a couple years in Mexico. Mom stayed down there with the 3 other children. And what do you know? Uncle, different name, different face, different haircut, same toxic patterns, party addiction. So here, little Jamie, 9 years old, had to figure out how to get himself to school and get himself clothes and figure it out, because rarely saw uncle just coming and going from last night's bender. And that was very interesting. And of course, little Jamie made the decision, I will never be like dad, stepdad, uncle. And what do you know? At 16, that same little Jamie is moving out. And guess what he has? Different name, different face, same toxic fucking shit. And so I had an alcohol addiction since I was 16. And I was an entrepreneur at that age. So I had my own schedule. And let me know in the chat, for those of you entrepreneurs, you got the financial success. Tell me this, did more time freedom and more money, did it fuel your toxic addictions and patterns, or did it help them? Let me know in the chat. Did it add to your toxic patterns? Fueled. Thank you, Tiffany. Thank you for the honesty. Yeah, I just had more time and more money to get more drunk more of the time. Like, seriously. What about the fears? Thank you, Marty. You are correct, added. What about the fears, right? Because the big fear around money is that I'm going to run out of money, and then I'm going to be homeless, and then I'm going to starve, and then I'm going to die. Well, did all your fears go away when you had a bunch of money in the bank? Or was there just new creative fears? Was it now, holy shit, I got a lot of money to lose? Right? First you were scared because you didn't have any. More fear. Yes, Michael. Thank you. So are you guys picking up what I'm putting down here? You catching my drift? And so, yes, we have made a very conscious decision. Al said, more money in the bank and success caused me to work harder. Interesting, Al. So didn't want to lose it. Yes. So potentially a workaholic pattern, that more money and more success just fueled the workaholic, right? And how many of us told our significant others, don't worry, babe, as soon as I get the money, then I'll have more time to spend with you. It's just a phase because we're broke. And then you get the money, and what ends up happening? Yeah, you're just addicted to the work and addicted to more money, right? As Al was just saying. Didn't want to lose it. Now there's a big fear around losing it. So put a 1 in the chat if you agree that money without a transformation is scary, to say the least. Not helpful, to say. I'll say, get out of my head. 1, Josh, Tiffany 1, Michael 1, Marty 1, Brent 1, Gordon 1, Arcadia 1, Anthony 1, Amy 1. Okay, awesome. Josh Willamette, where are you? Just kidding, bud. I talked to Josh the other day. I'm like, yeah, man, like we were talking about the money. I'm like, come on, like what's the Lambo gonna do? And he's like, well, hold on. I haven't had that experience yet. You've had it. I'm like, oh, okay. He said he was just joking, but I sensed there was a little of attachment there. Josh, love you, buddy. Super excited, actually. Willamette and his team that has been super helpful to us behind the scenes just agreed to do a private group transformation with Dawn here on Tuesday. So That's really exciting, because the last thing you want, okay, talking about all these toxic patterns, right? The last thing you want is a business partner, a partner in life in any aspect, but a partner at the highest level to this community. Finnega's better than Ferraris. That's funny. But the last thing that you want, whether it's your significant other, a life partner, or at the highest level as an executive, is someone that's running those toxic fucking patterns, right? Like how could there not be just pure destruction at some point? Betrayal, stealing, lying, cheating, whatever, all of it is just symptoms of that toxic ego. So it's actually really freaking amazing that we're sitting here every single day sharing the actual solution. Like, my stepdad didn't have a solution. His dad also, oh, wow, what a coincidence. Same, different name, different face, same patterns, right? I remember, so he's my step grandfather. And his last few years, I saw him before he committed suicide. But I saw him, and he would wake up at 6 a.m. and go straight to the liquor store and buy a bottle of Fireball. That would be his freaking breakfast. And he had the big house, the big family, and threw it all away to the alcohol and the cocaine and the workaholics and all the holics. Next thing you know, he's living by himself in a trailer park, feeding his addictions every day. And to him, the only solution was, get me out of here. And he hung himself in that trailer. This was a guy that made millions in his career, worked his whole life. So yes, more time and more money equals more fuel for the ego. And yeah, how amazing is it that we actually have the solution right here, right now? Even going back, I was just telling Sam today, 3 years ago, when Don and I created the I Am Divinity and intended to create this whole community, and I started bringing like major influencers to Don, that any one of them could have made it world famous, and they all found their reasons to give it up. And that was frustrating at the time. But looking back, there was some very pivotal moments. Like, we had a major event for all of humanity, December 22nd. And it was that very same week that the very first COVID restrictions were lifted. Like, the mask requirements and all that were lifted that same week. My first daughter, Alina, she was born the very next day. She was in the womb in that group in Mexico with us, going through the transformation, and came out the very next day. There was another pivotal moment we had in Mexico where I decided to be the surrogate for the collective ego. And Don worked through me with the collective ego. Yeah, it is cool, Linda. And so these major things that we did, that going through it at the time, it was like, oh man, everything we do just isn't working. But now looking back, it's like, wow, actually we uncovered some major layers that was the foundation for all of this now. Like, for all of these people, all of you showing up on this call every day, like, we didn't find this openness before, and even like one of my best buddies, Josh Willamant, we really pretty much disconnected for a few years there, and that was pretty hard for me, like going on separate paths where we started this journey together. But then to see him even come back around now, and we're gonna just blow the tops off of all this all together as a unit. So it's like another great friend of mine, Adam Wenig, reached out, and he was one of those major marketers. Like he's won awards. He's one of the top marketers in the US. And again, like just him alone could have made this program all around the world. And he just came back to reconnect. So super exciting that it's all coming together now, because it was discouraging for a while when everything got separated and the ego got the best of all of us. But anyway, I want to bring up Nua here before he completely falls asleep and share his piece, because he's 2 days in, right? And we're talking about an instant and a permanent transformation. And for those of you that are new or haven't gone through the program, or even that have and are having a hard time like locking in the permanent piece, I want Nua to share his experience, because it literally happened for him in an instant, a major component in his life. So beautiful shirt as always. Come on up here, buddy.
What's up, Jamie?
I told Sam, I'm like, man, Nua looked a lot smaller on Zoom. It just shows up he's like as big as the rock. Oh, thanks. Okay, go ahead, bud.
Hey guys. Yep, Noah here. I'm in the Philippines. And just like JB said, second day of since the whole transformation on Divinity Mountain here in the Philippines. It's been speechless, to say the least, because the first time Jamie brought me up, I really didn't even, he asked, talk about what happened. I was just speechless because I was still going through the motions. I was still kind of like, I couldn't even, that was my speech, was that I was speechless. And then yesterday I shared, for those of you on the call, I shared a little personal incident that happened, and I wasn't even aware of it. And for those, I'll just kind of like go over it again. Just briefly, was had a little argument with my wife, and then told her, hey, let me call you back later. Well, first off, the old me would have just engaged in the argument, and it would have been no good. But then I just said, hey, you know what? I'm currently busy right now, but I'll talk to you later on. I don't want to argue right now. And so when I talked to her later on, we talked for hours. And in Utah, it's 8 o'clock when this thing starts. But we talked for hours, and it was by the time we ended the call, everything was good. We found a solution, and I said, all right, well, I'll talk to you tomorrow, the next day. And when I woke up, well, number one, I woke up, I had probably the best sleep I've had in a long time, because, I made peace with our arguments, went through the transformation. I went to sleep at 4:30. I woke up at 9:30. But I woke up and I felt like I slept like 10 to 12 hours. And that was number one. One of the things when I look back, what I noticed. And then I got a beautiful text from my wife. And in a nutshell, yesterday I read it verbatim, but pretty much what she was saying was, wow, I love the new you. And I can't wait she felt like she's falling in love with me all over again. Now, her saying that, I've been working on self-development, self-mastery, trying to better myself for the past 4 to 5 weeks. She's never said anything so profound. But she did that morning. And the best thing about it was she didn't even know I went through the transformation with Dawn. Because I was going to tell her, but then I decided not to. I wanted to see, organically if you know, if she noticed anything. And when I got that text message, you know, brought tears to my eyes. I shared it with Jamie. We were working out later on that day, and you know, we kind of had a bromance moment. We were shedding some tears because I didn't realize, you know, the way I was talking to her was the new me, you know, with peace, with love and respect, to where we can both have a, you know, a conversation, getting our points across without arguing, without, you know, really going off on the, you know, to where it ends up just being a no good, like an argument would, you know, would just totally ruin the day. And it was peaceful. So it was, you know, and I'm still going through it right now, you know, and it's I'm more aware of how I'm acting, what I'm, you know, the words I'm using, what I'm doing, how I'm thinking, and how I respond to certain things as well. So it's and mind you, this is a gift from Jamie. I was in your guys' chairs. I was in your guys' seats, you know, 4 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, when Jamie offered to gift me with this. You know, pretty much had no hope. Was at my wit's end, you know. Marriage was in shambles. I was like, I have nothing to lose. Let me go see what's putting a big smile on Jamie's face and Sam's and everyone else who's been through Don's process. Let me see if this guy's for real. Let me see if, well, yeah, sure, he could do it for them. Can he do it for me? In reality, he only helped me do it for me. So I feel super blessed. I'm full of gratitude. Came halfway across the world, and the first thing Jamie says, like, well, you didn't have to come all this way for this. You know, you could have done it. You know, but I was happy that I did come because it's been great. He's a great host. And I've been able to experience face to face. And I'm more of a interaction. I'd rather have an interaction than a transaction. And the interactions I've had with Don, with Jamie, with Sam, with Will, and the whole I Am Divinity team over here has been just life-changing. It's definitely something I would recommend anyone who's going through similar things such as I am. And you don't have to be going through big things or big issues or huge issues in your life. You know, if you just want to change, I'd recommend it. You know, I can only share what my transformation is. I can only share what my experience is. And as I'm going through my experience, I'm open to share it because in hopes that it helps somebody out there. I appreciated Sam for being vulnerable, sharing his issues. And as men, it's not manly to be vulnerable, right? It's hard for us. It's divine. It's divine. Jamie being transparent. So that being said, I'd like to thank Jamie. I'd like to thank the whole I Am Divinity team. I'd like to thank Don Smith very much for this. I look forward for what this holds, but I've got hope. I've got a glimpse of hope now. I've got divinity now. Thank you very much.
Awesome, bud. Wow, awesome. When did you get here? 3 days.
Monday.
Monday. What day is it today? Saturday. Yeah, so less than a week. And we saw it. I mean, first hour, this guy was completely different. Like he had lost a whole person. And Tiffany noticed you were able to button up the shirt today. I've been telling him he's looking lighter. A lot lighter. So yeah, what a gift. I mean, the only the only way to attempt to repay the gift that I got from Don was to pass it on. I mean, what else can I gift someone? You know, I asked New, I said, after he shared what happened with his wife, I said, what if we gave you $1 million? Would that have done it? And as all of you recognized, if those toxic patterns are there, the money's just going to fuel it. It's the worst thing that you could do. And anyone that has a drug addict in their family, or an alcoholic or party addict or whatever, you know that the worst thing that you could do is give them money when they come to you for money. Or the drug addict on the street, you know, that comes to you for money. It's like, you know where it's going to go. Josh knows this crazy street in Vancouver. I guess who was it? Gordon that was Kelowna? He would know too. Main and Hastings. Main and Hastings. There is a whole population there of homeless people that have $100 a day, $1,000 a day drug habit. All of them. They're all running around just flying high. Yeah, Gordon says it's a horror show. It is. Like, imagine that. Finding the money every day, whatever it is, hundreds of dollars a day for your heroin, and putting that over even having a home, having somewhere to sleep. They're literally all living on the main street. And the real fancy ones have tents. But most of them are literally just sleeping on cardboard boxes. So when you go there and they ask you for money, you know where that's going. And that's just an intense example, but that applies to all of the toxic programs, all of the ego patterns. And so it's really a huge responsibility, especially when we found these financial programs, to give people what they actually need before those financial programs, to give them the transformation first and foremost. And then the financial programs are just a bonus in the background, because whether they do it with us or they do something else, they'll be in a healthy place where success is natural. But many of you have seen the toxic community members we had with Incomation, and it's like the last thing. I mean, they're honest about it. I came here just for the money. What is this voodoo cult? Like, want to help you? I know, I just want the money. It's like, okay, well, go get it from somewhere else, because we're not going to just make you a charity case to fuel your toxic patterns. If you're not even willing to get on a Zoom call and actually help yourself, why would we help you? So Gordon, my brother lives in Falkland right now. He's a welder out there. So it's about an hour, I think, from Kelowna. My brother Jesse. So Chase is the one that has the alcoholic, weed problem, all that. Well, Jesse, he just got in a motorcycle crash. He's had a lot of pain happen to him this last year. So he called me this morning and he said, hey man, like, I was gonna come out there, and then I thought, you know what, I should just find my next work opportunity instead. And he was gonna put the work above it. But then he said, you know what, like, I really need this. I really need to come out there. And I wasn't sure if he was talking about the transformation, but I sensed it. That's cool, Gordon. Yeah, I've lived in Vernon too. I went to WL Seton for a year. I was the quarterback for the Seton football team. Anyway, so Jesse calls me and said, man, like I've gone through so much this year. I'm aware of it, and see what you guys are doing, and I'm totally open, totally ready for this. I'm like, that's fucking awesome. That is so awesome. I am so happy to hear that, because my mother and my brother Chase were the complete opposite. I had to continuously call them and just beg them, like, please just talk to Don, like he can help you, like seriously. And they both came to Philippines, my mother and Chase, and they both worked with Don, and then both of them found reasons wrong with Don, didn't do the exercises afterwards, and just gave it all up. Didn't value it at all. There was no commitment and there was no surrender. And those are the two pieces that you need. You need 100% in both. If you're not 100% committed to the process, you're guaranteed going to stop doing the only thing that Don asks you to do to make it permanent. And if you don't have the surrender, guaranteed there's going to be a struggle. You're going to fight with him on something, or you're going to disconnect from us. You're going to stop updating. You're going to try to forge your own path, all of that. And that's just the ego coming in and attacking you, because it knows that if you do commit and surrender to this process, the ego is dead. Like, it dies. And it will trick you that you going through this process, you will die. But that's just the ego saying it will die, and you don't have a separation with it. There's people in our past community. One of them is a pastor, and he literally is so terrified to come on the Zoom call that he had to block us, run away from the community. And I've seen people have reached out to me because he's been messaging people in the community. And that's a prime example. It's like terrified, absolutely terrified to get on a Zoom call and go through some questions to be aware of your toxic patterns and help you dissolve the ego. Like, you would imagine that a pastor of all people would be open, but it's surprising. I've met many leaders in the religious and the spiritual realms, and because their ego thinks they have what we're talking about, they're completely closed to it. And because those programs are fear-based, they're completely terrified of anything outside of their box. Very interesting to witness. But my brother Jesse, he has another main component, which is he went through a lot of pain. Went through a lot of pain. He had this great career going, bought himself a nice new fancy truck, and thought everything was going great. And then, boom, in a second, motorcycle crash, broke his wrist, and now laid off from the work, lost his income, and he's down and out right now. And he doesn't know what the solution is. And that's why he was so ready. And that's why he told me, like, I just need a solution, because I can see the shit that's been happening to me, and I don't want to keep crashing. Like, fucking A, that's awesome. So we got him a flight immediately. So he's flying from Kelowna to Vancouver to Philippines February 1st. Super amazing. So I'm really happy about that. Linda says sometimes they are so indoctrinated in religion they can't see anything else. Yeah, that's true. That is true. Especially at the higher levels, right? Because then you're like, their whole ego identity is wrapped up in, I'm the pastor, I'm the leader of it. Plus, imagine if someone in his congregation finds out he has a lot at stake. Yeah. For sure. And that again is all the ego just playing tricks like, oh, they're going to judge you, you're going to get ridiculed, you're going to lose all your following, you're going to lose all your clients, all of that. Al says, I can't get on every call because of my schedule, but I do listen to the recordings when I miss the lives. And can the process still work? Because it is working. Yeah, Al, great question. So that's another trick of the ego, right? It will say, hey, yeah, you weren't there live in the group. You only watched the recording, so like that's not gonna work. And yet we have someone on the call perhaps that is a prime example. Gilbert. Gilbert, are you on the call, bud? Because it would be awesome for you to share, because you just went through the recording, and man, what happened to you was amazing. Is he on the call?
Yes.
Oh, awesome. Even better. He is? Okay, Gilbert, if you can hear me, if you're there, we'd love to bring you on now or in a minute, whenever you're ready. Just open your mic and come on and share. I think that's really important. I remember when my good friend Adam Wenig came out to Mexico. So he flew in to do a one-on-one with Don. And absolutely amazing. We got it all recorded at this big hacienda on a cliff over the ocean, like just absolutely majestic. And we filmed him before, like a little before of how he was feeling, and then an after. And he's a very honest, transparent guy. So the before was pretty funny, like how skeptical he was, and how these crazy guys in these crazy shirts, he thought that they were running a cult, and he was just totally honest about it. And he's been a good friend of mine for years. But because he came in person with Don, he then had the ego trick him into Don's program only works in person, right? Meanwhile, we were every week having these Zooms of just these absolutely crazy, amazing transformations. So when he found out about that, he was pretty shocked, to say the least. And anyway, I'm excited to have Adam back. But yeah, the ego will do all sorts of tricks. So anyway, Gilbert, if you can hear it, come on when you can. Dan says, does it come from this verse? Fear God and give him glory, of his judgment has come. Well, yeah, there's many verses, that we could point to of the world is going to end and you're going to die, for sure. Which I sense wasn't, in this case, Jesus's message. The end times are here. Make sure you accept Jesus in your heart, or you're going to die and you're going to live in eternal hell, punished forever by the all-knowing, all-powerful God. But he loves you. Yes, it is quite a horror story. Interesting. So anywho, let's anyone else that wants to come on and share. Love hearing from you guys. It keeps things interesting, at least for me. So anyone that wants to open up, if they have a comment, question, just want to share anything, throw up your hand and then we can call on you. Great to see you around, Tiffany. Tiffany, can I put you on the spot? I'd love to hear from Tiffany of how why she is so committed to this process. Because I do see your commitment, Tiffany. She dropped some meme. Can you scroll down a bit? I want to see that.
Yeah, it's just a meme about what Dan just posted.
Oh, that's awesome. Are you winning, son? No, Dad, they're worshiping me instead of living according to That's awesome. That's so awesome, Tiffany. Yeah, that's it, right? That's that ego, fear-based externally referenced, right? So at the highest level, meaning like God is externally referenced and fear-based. Like the ego has twisted God. Amazing. Of course, I mean, it makes logical sense. If you were the ego, you would go after, you know, the biggest tree. Anyway, Tiffany, that's okay if you can be on camera. Do you want to share just why you've been so committed to the community and what you see here and anything you've experienced?
Yeah. Honestly, when I first started
Turn it up.
joining you guys with incubation and the prop firm stuff, I didn't commit to doing any of that or sharing it with anybody that I knew until I kind of stalked you, Jamie. And you know this, I've told you multiple times, but for everyone else, I literally went to his Facebook pages or Instagram pages, and I saw the divinity then. And that's when I knew that I wanted to be a part of it, that I had to be a part of it, that it was aligned for me, because I knew that with that, like, I don't know why, but I knew that I could trust you, because that it was aligned through divinity with you, if that makes sense. And when I was still even trying to decide to be a part of the community, and I found your Instagram and was going through it, I sent the guy who invited me a screenshot, and I was like, have you seen this? This is freaking amazing that he is into consciousness. And I was just like, so excited that like I had been I don't know, like led to you or something. Anyway, so yeah, that's how I ended up here. And throughout the entire process, no matter what was happening, the ups or downs, or I just was, I know that when I put myself in proximity with people who are conscious and in their divinity, that I stay that way, or it's easier for me to stay that way. And so I knew that I wanted to be like sitting at your table, like no matter what was happening. And so that's why I've just stuck around and been here every day. I just love being a part of like the consciousness and the divinity.
That's awesome, Tiffany. Amazing that you could see it and you searched for that. It's very wise of you. It's been great to have you around. So I'm looking forward to the evolution of all of us together, and including hearing your evolving story. Thanks for sharing, though. I sense that, yeah, that would just be genuine. So thank you for sharing.
You're welcome.
Dan has his hand up. Dan, have you done your
Are you
divine
hesitant?
focus?
Are you hesitant of calling on me?
No, I asked you a question first. Have you done your divine focus today?
I did a little bit.
Okay,
I've
well,
noticed,
you
I
go,
just want to share, I haven't been posting a lot, but what I've noticed that
Dan.
I'm not as judgmental about other things I'm doing with other programs when somebody's not agreeing with me. So
Well, that's awesome. Thanks for sharing. And
that's because I just want to know what my symptoms are, you know, as I move through things, and so that's what I've noticed about. But I'm
so
less stressed about when people don't agree with me.
so the judgment of yourself and others is dissipating your
Yeah.
experience.
Yep.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's one of the major ones of the ego. I grew up on a lot of that judgment. Like just everyone was judged for everything. So yeah, that's great, Dan. And not seeking that approval. It reminds me of a story Don shared with me that I've dropped in the chat, but it's it's really awesome. And I remember I forget exactly what it was, but somewhere along the way, a few years back, when I was coming to Don saying like, Don, like this guy did this and this, and Don is so wise at this point, like he will not listen to the story very much, but every time he would cut me off and direct it right back to me, like not important what anyone else did or said or blah blah blah. It's like what's going on within you. And that was huge, because anyone in my life previously to Don would not only listen to the bullshit, but then fuel it too with more, like, oh, their story of betrayal, and they would go on and just add to it. But Don was super wise in the fact that he would just always turn me back to looking at what was going on within me. And he used an analogy, and he said, if I have a spoonful of salt and I put it on your wound, what are you gonna do? You're gonna freak out. You're gonna get mad at me, right? Well, what about if I put your wound in a bucket of salt? Yeah, like you're probably gonna attack me and want to kick my ass. But what about if you don't have a wound and I put a table of salt on it, on your hand? Then what? Oh, nothing? And what about if I put your hand in a bucket of salt and you don't have a wound? Then what? Oh, also no reaction? So he would, no matter what I would say happened to me from someone else, he would direct it back to me, showing me that it's actually my wound, not whatever anyone else did or said. So that's Janet. I see your hand. Janet, we'd love to hear from you.
That's so good. I just had a question in terms of post divinity, like your circle, like being because in the spiritual world they say to be aware of your energy and who you surround yourself around, right? So now that we're in our divinity, what do you do with your friends or people who don't believe in this stuff? Like, do you still surround yourself with them, or yeah?
That is a great question, Janet. Something I went through a lot. And just for a second, pointing out the spiritual, just like the religion, that spiritual ego is also that fear-based externally reference. So what you said of like, be careful of who you surround with, fear-based, and the people can affect you, externally referenced. So yeah, the best weapon, just like here's the main thing. The ego is just coming through them, and there's a very high chance, 99.9% chance, that they don't have a solution to overcome the ego like you experienced, unless you're bringing them to the transformation, right? So just realizing that it's not them, it's just the ego coming through them. And the best protection, because you don't need protection when you're in your divinity. Like, does Wonder Woman need to protect herself, Janet?
No.
No. So all it is a symptom of you not quite being in it. And the best way to do it is to get back into that divine focus, right? Like as much as you need to, as much as you can, for as long as you can, because then I shared an analogy with Nua today. For me, being a narcissist before, it was all about having this like cement wall in front of my heart and always protecting myself. And I use the analogy of a snowball. So if someone throws a snowball or an ice ball, you know all about that in Canada, Janet.
Yeah.
And so the old system is to protect yourself from the ice ball. But the new system in the divinity is your heart is so wide open that the ice ball just melts in that warmth of your wide open infinite heart. You don't need protection. So yeah, and it goes right back to what I was just sharing with the salt and the wound. If they're affecting you or triggering you in any way, it's your wound, not their salt, that's the problem. And
Yeah.
right, and that's tough to hear. Obviously, we unfortunately got to take 100% responsibility for everything in this program, but the best weapon we have is just in that divine focus. Like this morning I didn't even count, I didn't even look at my phone or the time or anything, but I sensed it was over 2 hours in the morning. And again in the afternoon I did another 2 hours, and it's like it don't matter who's around me, what they're trying to offer me. Our taxi ride on the way here with Nua, this guy starts offering like his whole like phone book of the prettiest girls in Davao in the Philippines here. It's like, I was like, just didn't affect me at all. It's like it didn't even have that conversation. Whereas not too long ago, the old narcissist Jamie with the sex addiction would have been taking some detours on the way home in that taxi, to say the least. But I didn't need protection from him because of how strong I was in my divine focus. It was just like, yeah, not interested, and just keep going. I know that's not quite like a close friend, but the other thing, Janet, to know is that anyone that's close around you that witnessed your massive transformation is even more terrified right now. Like the ego will flare up even more in them because they sense your huge shift. And now there's a whole fear, like the fear of losing you, and all of that is heightened. And again, they don't have a solution unless you're sharing your story with the transformation. They don't have a solution. What are they going to do? So the only thing they can do is the ego will just attack more and more, because the only solution for them, if you don't show them how to go up to where you're at in the divinity, is how do I do anything and everything to bring Janet back down so we can stay in this relationship and this connection we have.
Mhm.
You got it?
Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome. It's not easy. I encourage you to spend as much time as you can with yourself, Janet, just that divine feeling that you had when you're at the discovery here in Davao. That's the key.
Got it. Yeah, it's been lonely and fun. Thank you.
Yeah. I hear you on that. I went through a couple of years of that for sure. Amazing that we have a community now of everyone that knows exactly what you're talking about. So yeah, reach out to me too after. I'll have a chat with you.
Thank you.
Thanks for sharing and being vulnerable with us, because I know that's a huge one for a lot of people, whether it's their partner, their relationship, significant other, or just close friends or close family. I mean, it's sad to say, but it's hard for me to even connect with my mother this much anymore these days, even though before we were really close, right? Because every time I'd call her, she would fuel, the betrayal and the narcissist and all the stuff that I had, right? All the programs that we grew up together in, all the patterns. Anyway, ultimately, it's their free will and their choice. So the best gift that we can do is just tell them the solution we found, and that's why we're there. And then the other major thing is to do everything you can to stay as strong as possible so that they're not able to influence you down. So then they really need to make that decision of like, okay, like now you're influencing them in a positive way instead of allowing them to influence you in the negative. And they'll come around. I mean, my brother, it took him a few years, but he'll be here this week, you know. Hopefully that'll happen a lot sooner for all of you, but for me it was like 3 years of where's my family, man? Shit. Anyway, I had an old spiritual teacher. She was a numerologist. She was the reason I changed my name the first time. I think I'm on time 4. It's locked in at Divine now, but that's a whole other story. But she had an interesting saying that I recall. She said, and she was just funny. She said, you have your God family, and then you have your goddamn family. And I always remembered that one, unfortunately. Don will Tiffany's laughing. Don has some stories himself. I mean, if you weren't on the Divinity Mountain stream, he shared the story of his younger brother, David, only 1.5 years younger than him. And just like when they were younger, you could barely tell them apart, you know, like same build, same hair, same eyes. They almost look like twins. And Don obviously took a completely different path than most. And David stayed in the traditional model. And by the end of it, David was on dozens of different medical pills. Don was telling him one time about Don's sport that he created, which was boulder jogging, like the big rocks at the ocean. He would just like literally jog on these big rocks. And he was telling David about it, and David was like, "Oh, holy shit, man! I can barely get across the kitchen table with my cane, kitchen floor." And they're like 1.5 years younger, and he just passed away about 1 year ago. Don liked that one. And then he has was it 6 sisters? 6 sisters, and only one of the 6 was ever open to his program in the whole 40 years. She was Brenda. I've met her virtually. She helped Don, like was his assistant when he first went out on his own, started his own practice 44 years ago or so. So she's came in and out of different groups that we've had, and then her daughter also has joined us on a few. But other than that, I mean, like when Don went to David was sharing the medical whatever he had, I forget the name of it, and Don said, well, you know, David, like there's a good chance that there's an emotional cause to that. Oh, don't be so ridiculous, you know, get away with me for that voodoo stuff, you know. So that was the last of it. Don didn't mess with his free will after that. And so unfortunately, we need to allow people to make those decisions. Only they can make them, and just trust that the right ones will come along for the ride, and the ones that don't will the paths will somehow usually evolve separately, unfortunately. But yeah, that's a major one. Dawn, thanks for sharing. She says, it really is such a reversal of thinking, and that positivity has such an impact on health. For years, I played the victim because of my husband's alcoholism, but he's 10 years sober and I don't have an excuse anymore. Good one, Dawn. I realized I wasn't a victim and it wasn't his fault anyway. It's empowering to see positive things rather than negative. Yes. I would definitely choose positive over negative any day of the week. But I'll also share with you what Don told me on one of our first meetings, which was, Jamie, did you know your negative beliefs and your positive beliefs are both toxic? Like, what? How does that make any? That didn't make any logical sense at the time. But now experiencing going through the whole process and being beyond the intellect, because the negative beliefs about ourselves and the positive beliefs about ourselves are both toxic because they're both the ego. So they're just two sides to the same coin. And that's why the ego I experienced for my whole life, especially through all the personal development, it was all about going from negative to positive. And then no matter what I did, back to negative, and then back to positive, back to negative, back to positive, back to negative, and just flip-flopping, and that's just two sides of the ego. So the ego is both the I'm not worthy and I am worthy. I'm not loved and I am loved. The divinity is much different. The divinity is I am worth. I am love. Don likes to call it love worth because both of them tie in together. The love and the worth, the heart and the power. Can I ask for Telegram link? Yeah, Amy, thanks for bringing that up. We actually decided to consolidate all the groups. We had a little bit too much going on. So we've put it all into our Facebook group and Facebook chat. So there's inside our Facebook group, there's a Facebook community chat where we share our daily updates. So I'd love to have you in there. And Will, if you could drop that chat link, that would be great. Don says, I still have a journey, but getting there. Yes, Don, it is a journey. However, again, just to let you know, the timepiece is the old program. You got to get better and better and become the best version of yourself, all that. Where you heard from Nua happened in an instant. Boom, 1 second, done. And now all he has to do is commit to the 2 exercises to make it permanent. So we're not talking about a self-development journey. We're saying it's instant and permanent because that's what it is. That's the truth. Al, if I'm not on Facebook, how do I keep connected? Well, you get on Facebook, Al. I'm just kidding. How are we going to do that I thought that would be the one platform that everyone's on, but for anyone not on Facebook, I love the hat, though. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Al, I understand what you're saying, Al. Maybe if you just create some type of ghost account where you're only following us and only in that community, like you only are on Facebook for that purpose, that would make the most sense because all of us going to wherever you are would be a lot harder logistically than just you coming to the Facebook. Linda says, so Jamie, in your 2-hour meditation, are you saying to yourself, I am worth, I am love, along with I am divinity? Great question, Linda. No, I'm actually saying absolutely nothing because even words and language is just fueling the intellect. And that's the reason we don't call it meditation. It's divine focus. Meditation, well, put it simply, it just never worked for me. So that's not what we're talking about. This actually works. And the key difference is that the divine focus is you're focusing on soaking in that feeling, that state of consciousness you experienced in your highest moment, whether it was in the transformation or you had one throughout your life. Many people have had at least a handful of just pure wow, like moments, divine moments, supernatural moments, near-death experiences, you know. So, but usually, like for me, it was my very first transformation with Dawn. That's the one that I was recalling, the feeling of it, and just sitting in that feeling, and now I'm at the point where I can actually consciously send light throughout my whole body, like the feeling of the light. And sorry if this offends you, but the only way I can compare it to is like a full body orgasm. So that is what it is. I'm just like creating this every few seconds in the divine focus. I'm creating this full body light feeling. After my first one, I got to a whole higher level in Kuala Lumpur with Dawn. And so I was recalling the Kuala Lumpur. And now I've been having it so much here that it's like I'm literally just recalling the first time it happened, which was about a week ago, that I brought the Kuala Lumpur state back. Yeah, you're welcome, Linda. Can you get only Messenger and be on the chat? Oh, that's a good question. Is that possible? Yeah. Yeah? Because it is a Messenger chat, right? Yeah, that's a great point, Tiffany. For who was it, Gordon? Yeah, if you're not on Facebook, you could just have the Messenger app. Sorry? You must be in the Facebook group. No, no. Oh, yeah, it would be helpful to be in the group too, for sure. Because the Messenger chat is just for daily updates, but there's a whole lot of other stuff going on in the group. Can you scroll down to Will? I'm missing the last ones there. You want to share? Okay, so then you definitely gotta come share. Can I share something? Yeah. Okay. With you and Chezzer, is that okay? Okay. So I remember. So Will is sitting here handling all the 3D stuff. We really appreciate that. He's in and out of his divine state because he's trying to stay in 3D a little bit too. Awesome. You did that right now? Oh, there's always something, eh? Always something. Anyway, I recall when Will went through the process initially with Dawn, he had a dramatic transformation. And at the time, his wife didn't, right? For how long was that? Okay, so it was 2 years that Will was going in and out of his transformation, and his wife just had no really clue or sense of what it was. And then was it the group that we did in Tagum, or yeah? So when we formed Incomation, Chezzer, Will's wife, was then part of the team. And so one of the first things we did for the whole team out in the Philippines here was brought Dawn in to do a group session with them. And I remember, and Chezzer, if you're watching, she is. Okay. I remember watching this transformation happen, and at first Chezzer was very like nervous about this process. She was like, "Who is this weird guy with the white hair?" And she was kind of like just a little closed off. A little is putting it lightly. But because it was in a group, it was it's not like Dawn was, dealing with her directly. And that's something important to know too for people that are struggling, whether it's skeptical. The group dynamic is great because Dawn can work with the person who's the most open, and then he's working with someone next to you, which means the ego is disarmed in you, and you're picking up the transformation through someone else. And that's why our group Zooms and the recorded version, that's where it works so well. We had 72 on the first group live for the community, and Dawn really only used 1 or 2 examples that he went after, and and anyone watching it, and like Gilbert watched the recording afterwards, right, and got the full transformation through that. So that was interesting. Anyway, back to Chezzer. She was at first like just so like looking at Dawn weird, and I was looking at her just giggling like that's interesting. And then by the end of it, she was just like, she just all of a sudden was totally opened up, which was super cool to see. Like I was watching it, this live transformation. And anyway, Will came to me after, and he's like, dude, like me and Chezzer are not fighting anymore. Like 0 fights, right? Up until now. When was that? August. Yeah, it was August of last year. And how often roughly were you fighting before? Okay, so like a serious fight once or twice a week before the process, and then after August, they've literally had 0 fights. And it's so cool, like seeing their relationship now and how just joyful. And it's and also their son Z is 4 years old now, and he used to be so shy, right, like around anyone. And now, I mean, Nua's looking at him like, I don't believe it, dude. Bro, the kid was super shy. Yeah, he would say like, I don't like people. Like he was super afraid of the whole stranger danger, all of that, right? And now, I mean, Nua was, he's running around, he's playing with everyone. He has this ice and fire game that he does. And he goes, ice. And then you're supposed to freeze. And then he goes, fire. And you're supposed to go, hot, 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 hot. And then sometimes we'll throw him a curveball and we'll be like, Jollibee. And then he'll be like, num, 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 num. But it's so cute and amazing to see how much Z just totally blossomed since that. And Don never worked with Z, right? He only worked with Will and Chezzer, and it's because the younger ones, they're literally, so for any of you that have children, you're unconsciously giving them all your toxic patterns and programs. And so that's going back to what Sam was saying opening the call. It's like, this is the legacy that you can gift, is you being in your divinity. The children instantly get it on both sides, right? And that's why, as much as I, told my younger self, hey, I'm definitely not going to do what dad and stepdad did, not going down that path. By 16 all the way up until 30, when I worked with Don, I was the exact same pattern, the exact same. So yeah, super powerful stuff, how that plays out. Amy says, after I did the work, I don't know if I got it, but right when I hit my pillow, I saw a scene of children in a coma in a fish tank, floating in the water, all purple. And fish told me, that's how you human put my kids too. I take it as a sign to be a vegetarian. That's interesting, Amy. It's a bit of a coded message, maybe just for you, but I appreciate you sharing. And that's, yeah, first of all, as far as like not knowing if you got it, that's super common. Like Nua right in the room, right? He literally couldn't even share on the Zoom and or the stream the other night. And also Don, because Don has worked with pro athletes before, and Nua's connected to a couple NFL players. So Don, the first thing was like, and Nua was like just in tears from what I heard. I haven't seen the video yet, but from the camera, our Joel, our videographer, just shared. And anyway, still at that time, Nua was like, I don't know what I got. Like, since Don said, well, yeah, aren't you excited to share this with your NFL buddies? And Nua was kind of like, well, I don't really know what I'm going to share. Like, I don't know what happened, this kind of thing. And then all the way up until that night when we asked him to share in the live stream, and he was literally speechless. And That was, if you know Nua, super uncommon. So that alone was a transformation, going from speechful to speechless. But yeah, still not knowing what had happened until he had that conversation with his wife. Still didn't know until then she messaged him what she did, and he's like, holy shit, something happened. Right? But you're just like you for your entire life have unconsciously played out the ego patterns. As soon as you go through this transformation, you're now just unconsciously playing out the divinity patterns. So it's still just, it's an unconscious natural thing, just two completely different operating systems. And then again, going back to how important the divine focus is and the daily updates to lock it in, to make it permanent. Because I've shared many times on my journey, the last one that the ego really got me with was, dude, it's been a couple of years you've been doing this 3 times a day exercise thing. Like, it's locked in, man. You don't need to do this anymore. And so I stopped my divine focus. And next thing you know, little by little, ego's taking me here, taking me there. I'm still not even aware. And then I wake up and I'm like deep in the darkness, motorcycle crash, near-death experience, like all this boom, 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 nuclear bomb. I'm like, holy shit, like I need to surrender back to the divinity. Like, where did my divinity go? And that's how far I got away from it after years of being next to Don for not doing the divine focus. So yes, every single stream, we're going to tell you, make sure you're doing your divine focus. Are you doing your divine focus yet? How long are you doing it? You know, even Will, he's, what has it been, 3 years now that you went through it? And we were in the gym yesterday. The first thing I said to Will, how's your divine focus going? And he said, yeah, good, I'm doing it. And then he catches himself, he goes, well, it was unconscious to him, I caught him. He goes, but you know, I can't do an hour. Didn't know that. Curious, Will, why can't you do an hour? And he goes, well, yeah, it's so much, too much work. Got too much work going on. Like too many things to handle. Didn't know that. And anyway, we got to the core of it. And it was like, well, imagine if 1 hour of divine focus equaled 10 hours of work. Now what? Now do you have time for your divine focus? You know, and Sam was going in and out of something today too on the time thing. And it was this, like, there's not enough time. The work is stacking up. Don't have enough time. And that is a clear sign of the ego, clear symptom, because your divinity is absolutely infinite with, it's timeless. It's time, we're talking infinite lifetimes here. Infinite consciousness. Do you think the divinity is, oh, I don't know if I have enough time? Like, seriously. I trust that will help 1 or 2 of you. LK says, some music helps me stay in the zone. Yeah, music can help LK at first. Just make sure it's not a crutch. Will, if you could drop Don's meditation in there too. We did a guided meditation. We had an artist come in and he recorded it all when Don and I were in Mexico. So if you're gonna listen to something during your divine focus, I encourage you to listen to Don's, for lack of a better term, guided meditation. But even then, crutch, you know, we're really just asking to sit with yourself in pure stillness and grasp that feeling, that infinite feeling where your heart is wide open, infinite in size, your worth is wide open, infinite in size, and you just feel that, oh, that light all over your body. Like, I don't know if any of you are addicts like I used to be, but it'd literally be like encouraging you as an addict to just whatever your addiction was, do it like as much as you can. Like it shouldn't be that hard. You know what I'm saying? You got the YouTube in there, cool. Anyone, is Gilbert there? Love to hear from Gilbert. Gilbert? Who else? I'd like to pull up the participants, like the names, because I like calling people out. Time are we at? Okay. I think if you just go to participants or something. Okay. We'll scroll, we'll scroll, we'll scroll. We'll scroll. Okay, our buddy Marty's on the call. So Marty and I hadn't really connected since, I don't know, it's been about 3 years. Back in Mexico, we saw each other when we were both having a major ego crash. And we went and took it to the bars of Cabo to see how low the ego could go. And needless to say, that was one of my near-death experiences. But Marty came on, I think it was just last week, and shared where he was at. And it was awesome seeing him again. Marty's laughing. It was awesome seeing him. And then I could also read, just because I had just come out of it, and Sam was dealing with it too at the time, this, and many of you still potentially there, the intellectualizing the program and the divinity. And so I shared that with Marty, and then after the call, he messaged me privately just saying like, whoa, I had a huge breakthrough just being aware of the intellectualizing of it. So I'm curious, we haven't talked since then, but I'm curious, Marty, what has unfolded since then for you, or what the breakthrough was, because you didn't say it to me in the message, just that you had it. So if you want to share where you're at now, I'd love to hear from you, man, and great to see you coming on these calls. Marty.
Yes, I'm here. I'm here, my
There
friend.
he is. Awesome, man. How's it going over there?
Well, I'm in Quebec City, Montreal now in the code. Well, it is what it is. Business and family brought me here. But yeah, we have a quite amazing journey together. I know Jimmy since 2015, and we really connect as brother, traveling the world, each our side, doing what we need to do. And yeah, so I connect with Dan through Jimmy at the beginning of his journey, and brought me to Cabo. And yeah, we had a big crash together for sure. I was all in with Dan and all out with Dan. And Jimmy reconnect with Dan, and I did not. Well, I disconnect because of a couple of things that Jimmy is my friend, best friend, and for sure, my intellectual brought me in. It has to make sense, and what was happening was not making sense. So you all in, all out, and you want me to come back all in, and I don't follow as. I believe in it, but I don't know. There's so many things happening in my head, and just well, I'm hyperactive, ADHD, name all the all the letter. I have it for sure, and it has to make sense in my head. It's everything decision I take, it has to make sense, and these things doesn't make sense somehow. It may sense, but I'm very open. I did like Jimmy, all the Tony Robbins, and landmark education, name it, and at the high level, coaching, head coach, and all that. And so I'm very, very open. It's each time I see something like that, or I'm hungry on it to discover what's happening in our head and all that, the mindset and all that. So yeah, so I disconnect for a few years and always following Jamie and his journey and say, well, I'm still have the appetite to uh, to going back and okay. So when I saw the new information journey, I said, oh, I start to every day to be on the car, and I'm still today on a Saturday. And I woke up and okay, let's do it again, and just to reconnect. And when I saw, like you said, Jamie, I'm intellectual. I'm very in my head all the time, and instead of my heart, most of the time it's analyzing everything. And yeah, so it's so true that what you shared at the beginning. Sorry, I have a blank. To when I was making sense that my intellect drive my life, and I need to stop it. And it's hard because it's second nature. It's been on my life. I'm 55 years old now, and that's what drove me everywhere. And my success in business has probably come from there. But I want to go to another level now because I'm not alcoholic, but I drink. I like to party. I like to feel all the emotion about everything in my life. So, and I think it's going to be the hard part to let it go, but I think I'm ready. And that's why I reconnect. And we're 20 cars now, and probably did 18. So I'm there, buddy. I'm there, and I'm open. As you know me, it took me a few years to come back, but if I'm connected every day now, it's because I'm ready, and there's something there for me, and I want to go another level, and I'll do what it takes. So thanks to never get me out of your life. I love you a lot for it, and I know you're a good man and big heart, as I am. And so I'm so grateful to reconnect with you, Jamie, and I'm gonna see you this year in the Philippines for sure. And so yeah, if you whatever you have to say to bring me another level, I'm so open right now. And thanks to be in my life. Love you so much, man. And yeah, let's do that together. And yeah, I'm open. I'll let you talk. Thank you so much to brought me here and opened me the door to talk and share my emotion. And so I'm ready. I'm ready, man. Let's do it.
Awesome, Marty, man. Yeah, that's I can tell there's been a shift just from the last share that you had, that this one just felt genuine and in your heart. So I hear you loud and clear that you're ready. What I would suggest, because that was my same problem, was that attachment to the intellect, because like you said, it got us all of our success up until then. You know, it also fueled all of our addictions, but it also like helped us get the financial gains, right? So yeah, interesting how, and I just go back to the analogy we've been using all week, which is the infinite ocean, right? The ocean of infinite intelligence, infinite resources, infinite waters, and then the intellect convincing you you got to go to the kiddie pool to get water. You know, it's just like we may have the biggest kiddie pool on the block, but it's still a kiddie pool compared to the ocean. And so that would be like the intellect, right? It can get you so far, but not where we truly not who we truly are. And so the best suggestion for you, Marty, because the biggest pitfall that I had was not surrendering fully to the exercises, like not committing fully to those, the divine focus 3 times a day, sitting in that feeling. So recalling that first transformation that you had with Dawn, that you were way out of your head. It was just infinite, right? Your heart was wide open, your worth wide open, and that feeling that you had of just infiniteness. So sit in that for as long as you can. I'm up to 2 hours each time, 3 times a day. But Dawn suggests minimum 10 minutes 3 times a day. So right when you wake up, in the middle of the day, and then right before you go to sleep. And there's really nothing else you have to do to make it permanent. But if you have an attachment of any kind, like I did, the ego is going to use that, right? It's going to find reasons wrong with Dawn, right? Like we did, or whatever, fill in the blank. It's going to tell you to I mean, why would you keep doing the exercise if you found something wrong with Dawn, for example? It's like, you're not going to do it. So that's what brought me fully back, Marty, was sitting in that divine focus for hours each day now. That would be the number one thing. But it's awesome that you've been tuning in. I've seen you, 18 out of 20. That's amazing. And definitely coming out. We welcome you with open arms to be out here. And we'll be having a live group transformation that I encourage you to be in on my birthday, February 7th. So that will be a group Zoom with Dawn, and that would be a great place for you to experience the full process again, and then just commit to that exercise afterwards. Awesome, Marty. I'll see you there then, man. LK, I do not know Jeff Berwick. Nope. So give me what time is it? Probably time to go. 49. Okay, cool. So great being with you all every single night. It's been it's really encouraging, actually, to see how many of you are stepping into this and committed to being embracing the fullness of who you are, and committing and surrendering to your divinity. It's really, really fantastic. It's one thing doing it alone, but having all of us doing it together, it's just super cool. Yeah, Linda says this community is so important to me. That's awesome, Linda. I'm really excited to have all of you experience the fullness and share it. Like Gilbert, what a massive shift he had. Hey, just coming on, and just what a spotlight. And that's a great example for anyone that thinks, or that the ego tells you, like, you can't get it on the recording call, got to come all the way to the Philippines to get it. That was the first thing I said to Nua when he said, okay, I just got off the plane. I came here for my divinity. I said, well, that's awesome, Nua. You're going to have a great experience, but you didn't need to come this far for your divinity. But yeah, it's whatever level you play at with us, it's awesome to have you guys, all of us together doing it. So Sam, if you want to come up with your nice, beautiful hat, close her off, share anything that came up for you, and then send them to the onboarding if they need help.
Yep. Awesome. So, before the process, I was definitely a people pleaser. As you can tell, I don't really care now. I'm wearing Will's son's hat. But yeah, I'm really happy to. Oh yeah, I definitely was all black. I would definitely not wear a purple and pink suit before this, so definitely not a people pleaser now. But yeah, I just want to say it takes a lot of courage for you to share and to to allow Jamie to really call you out. I know just yesterday he really put me on the spot, and I had to really face something that the ego was continuing to use against me. But that is what it takes, right? It's really taking accountability for your wound. Whatever is coming up for you, that's yours to own. And so I just want to say we're super proud of you guys, and continue to show up. You know, like your life, your lineage, it really does depend on this. And so, yeah, I mean, just want to say I'm proud of you guys. There's really, you know, this community is beautiful. I've never been a part of anything that's actually creating true impact. You know, I've been a part of more than a dozen different programs, hit the top 1% in all of them, which was fueled by my needing for validation from my father, the people pleasing, the addiction to money, all of those things. And now it's really out of a pure, genuine wanting to serve, to help people, to have that freedom within. And so it wouldn't be possible for you without you guys. You know, we're here as a unit, we're doing this together. And so I just want to say thank you for being a part of our community. We really do appreciate you all for being here. I just want to bring one thing to your attention. We do want you guys to start sharing this with other people. Do not keep this to yourself, especially the people closest to you. And Nua, I don't know if you're okay with me sharing this, what you shared with me earlier. Okay. Because I went through the same thing. I did the transformation with Don over a year ago, and I was married at the time, and I had an amazing transformation going through, you know, decades of physical abuse, near-death experiences, just so much trauma, just all of that. You know, even though I had done all the personal development, all that stuff, I still showed up with all my shit to Don, and I had a beautiful transformation, and I gave it up because of the people pleasing. I wanted to continue that connection with my wife, instead of really letting her understand, like, hey, this is the ego that's coming up, and staying in my divinity and doing and committing to the divine focus. I came down to that level. And so Newman was sharing with me today, you know, he had a beautiful message from his wife yesterday, but then today, you know, was it today or last night? Today, she ended up basically, you know, getting a little mad, and some old toxic programs started to come up. And so I shared with him, like, hey, bro, this is just the ego going through her, working through her, trying to bring you back down to that level. Because subconsciously, like Jamie shared earlier, that is the only way that the ego knows how to continue to have that relationship, or the person, they're unaware the ego is working through them, is that's the only way that they can actually have a relationship with you. So if you're going through the process, it's super important to have all the people in your close immediate circle to come and do this with you. So do not keep this to yourself. I said this yesterday, share it with 5 people. You know, like, all it takes is a few minutes. All you have to say is like, hey, I had an amazing experience. Come to this Zoom. You're not going to regret it. You don't have, there's no pitch. They come, they feel the energy, and they will commit with you. So with that being said, anything else? You've hit that. Oh, yes. So we are going to be having the world's largest instant transformational session at the end of April. It'll probably be, we don't have the exact details. We're working on all of that. So if you can make it out to the Philippines, it's going to be an amazing event. We don't even really know what it's going to be, but divinity always shows up. So that's, you know, that's a promise. And we are working on some of the back end stuff. So you can expect a new membership portal, new website, new everything. We'll have everything cleared up, cleaned up. So that way there's no lag or anything. And yeah, if you want to get on the onboarding call, we'll drop that link below in the chat. We'll help you with anything that you need. If you want to put some money in the piggy bank, whatever. You have any technical questions, we'll do that. Oh, and one last thing. If you guys could do me a favor, if you haven't followed our new Instagram page, if you could go and follow that. The Instagram page is at the IAMDIVINITY. I was gonna make it IAMDIVINITY, but like it was already taken. I don't know who the heck took it, but yeah, if you can you drop that in there as well? It's at the IAMDIVINITY. We're gonna be posting all the content on there as well, so you can start to share that with your friends. And also the YouTube channel, Jamie Divine, I believe, right? Yes. So if you could, that will be a good way to share resources with people. All of the streams are automatically uploaded on there. So you can even, if some of your friends can't make it there, you to the program will be put. We're going to start off at $2,000, and the affiliate program, you'll be able to share that with people and earn a commission. So for all the people that still attached to money, still worshiping money, you got a couple of days left. Was it 4 days? Get people in before then, because I mean, regardless, we're going to start to do that because we want to make sure that all the right people are in the community and all the ego is out. So with that being said, we're done. Thank you all for being here. We love you guys, and we shall see you tomorrow at 11 p.m. Philippine time and 10 a.m. Eastern time.